That might be out of my
That might be
budget.
out of my budget.
Is it expensive?
How much is it?
How much is it?
What do they eat?
Do they have vegan options?
I don't know. I can't eat what they eat over there.
What is there to do there?
Man, I heard that place is boring.
I heard that place is boring.
Is it even safe over there?
Is it even safe
Is that
over
place
there?
even safe?
But is it safe for
Is it even
single women?
safe over there? You know they be killing people.
What should I pack?
I don't know.
I heard the rooms are small and they don't even have AC.
I don't know where to begin to plan a trip.
Is there a language barrier?
Man, I don't know.
Hi, my name is Kalika, and I'm from Decatur, Georgia. And on this episode, we are covering Rome, Italy.
So on this episode, we have Rome, Italy. Rome is the capital city of Italy. It's also the fourth most populated city in Europe. It is also home to the Vatican City, which is kind of like its own country. It's technically recognized as the smallest country in the world, but it's also found in outside of the Vatican. Over 4 million tourists a year come in to see Colosseum, Trevi Fountain, the Roman Forum, and many other attractions. For those of you who are wondering if you should add Rome to your bucket list, I'll just say this. If you love history, European architecture, gelato, then it's worth it. It's like walking around in a history book or a museum. You could literally be sipping coffee at a corner cafe and surrounded by history relics as old as 70 AD. Some people, that's not a big deal, but to me, I think it's lit. Yes, 70 AD. The best time to visit is either late spring or the September to October range, right after the summer rush. During those periods, you get to avoid kind of the muggy temperatures. The worst month to probably go probably August. From what I've been told, August is kind of recognized as their summer break for a lot of Italians. So you may see a lot of shops that are closed. Probably won't affect most people in those tourist areas, but just in case you wanted to explore, just avoid that month. Last time I went, it was September. Perfect weather, crowds weren't too bad. Except outside of most tourist attractions like Trevi Fountain and things like that, it's kind of hard to get right up on that fountain. There's always a crowd, but for the most part, that was a pretty decent time to go. Typically, that flight can run you anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400, but I don't pay full price. I'm always gonna find a deal. My flight was only taxes, pretty much. I think I might have paid $50 in taxes. But those kind of deals are out there. There's no reason for you to have to pay $1,400 for that flight. There are so many great cities in Italy. And various destinations along the coastline. I can't tell you if Rome should be your first stop, but it definitely should be on your list. Another caveat for Rome is that we kind of have our own idea of Italy. Another caveat for Rome is that we kind of have our own idea of what Italian delicacies are. So we kind of have our own idea of what pizza tastes like. We kind of Americanize it and remix everything. You're not probably going to see that in Rome. My idea of pizza is probably with a lot of toppings. But when I got there, it was just paste and bread. However, I will say Riscoli, I saw it on the food channel. It's a pretty dope spot. Now, while I was there, I also visited Tuscany, so Florence to be more specific, and then kind of ventured off into the countryside. Now, that's a worthwhile experience, but that's a whole nother stuff. But as far as Rome, I sat down with a friend to kind of compare experiences, just to see if we can give you a worthwhile idea if this place would be right for you. Hopefully the dialogue can lead to a more informed decision. If you just so happen to visit Rome in the upcoming months, drop a comment, send us pictures, tag us on Instagram, just to share y'all experience. And now for the Rome interview. It's like the 830th, edition of the Trvlkast podcast, whatever number we're going to choose for today. And today we have Zane, my guy Zane, and we're going to talk about Rome, Italy. How you doing, Zane?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm good. How was your trip to Rome?
Man, it was great. That was my first time going to Europe, actually. So I went with an open mind. I had no real expectations. I've heard people talk about, what they experienced and whatnot, but I didn't really have an idea. I was going for a wedding, so that was kind of part of it. But outside of that, I'm kind of a history buff, so I like all the Colosseums and the Vatican. All that stuff was exciting to me.
Did you get to see the Vatican?
Yeah. Kind of in a rush manner because we only had limited time, but it was just all the art and history inside. It was great, man. You see all the African artifacts.
Did you get to go in and see the Sistine Chapel?
Yes. No pictures in there, though. That's the only bad part about it.
Bruh, they had
Yeah, so I took a picture going into it.
I did too.
Yeah, but once you went there, I saw everybody with the machine guns and everything, like the guards with the guns and everything,
Yeah.
and I kept that
Yeah.
phone in my pocket.
Yeah.
All right, so how did you make this trip? So it was a wedding.
Yeah.
Was it all planned through a travel agent, or how did it work? Did you do it on your own?
Kind of both. I ended up booking an Airbnb for my accommodation, but I booked my flight with the travel agent because you got a better deal. So I had an Airbnb, like a 3-bedroom apartment Airbnb for like $1,000 for a week. So it was like it was actually across the intersection from the U.S. Embassy, which is another bad story that I almost went to jail. Seriously.
Okay.
But and the flight, we planned it out about maybe like almost a year out. I just kind of put the money aside. I put so much money aside every week just to have it saved up. I was ready to go.
So as far as the $1,000 Airbnb, did y'all split that?
Yeah,
or
split it 3 ways. That's 3 ways.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
me and Travis and the videographer split it 3 ways.
y'all had a videographer.
For the wedding.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No.
Not documenting your travel. You're big time, ain't you?
No.
Documenting your vacation.
Nah.
So when I went, it was kind of, I tried to pick an accommodation that was the most, I guess the closest thing to American, I guess.
Yeah.
Because I was leery of the language barrier. Perceived language barrier.
Yeah.
So I picked the Best Western.
Yeah.
And it was a Best Western Universal that was right next to the main train station. I think they had like the main train station in the middle of Rome. So that was the other kind of strategic part of it, is trying to select something that's close to the train station. I knew I wanted to take the Eurail up to different parts of Italy. Where was your Airbnb located? And how much thought was placed into it?
Actually a good bit because, like I say, everybody had a hotel, and we tried to find something that's closest proximity to the hotel. It ended up actually being like a block away from the hotel, so that worked out good for that. But as far as proximity to the center of most stuff, it was probably about 20 minutes away. But that was a spot that could hold everybody, to accommodate everybody and close to the wedding venue as well. So if we went into the city to do anything, it was maybe like a 15-minute ride, 20-minute ride. So it wasn't that bad.
So it was just outside of the city.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Because
it
you got
worth it,
to
though.
kind of get away from the tourist areas.
Yeah, it definitely was that.
So in my head, when I think of Italy, right? When I go to an Italian restaurant, I see the rolling hills and I see all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then I touched down in Rome. I didn't see that. Not in the city. I didn't see that until I left the city, when I went towards like Tuscany, Florence, Italy, and everything like that. What was your expectation going to Italy? Did it change? Did it differ?
Because I had never been to Europe, I really didn't know what to expect. So I just kind of went in kind of open. But I don't know. I had this vision of what I saw on TV all the time. So you see all these buildings, it's like, okay, well, it's not exactly what I thought it was, but it was still cool because you've seen a lot of, the architecture and those cobblestone streets and all, stuff like that, was different for me. I'd never really been nowhere that had that. So, but I mean, it exceeded my expectations because, like I say, it was a new experience. Like I'm always up to try food, whatever is out there,
Yeah, that was another sticking point for me.
The gelato.
Yeah, the gelato. No, I remember going out 2 a.m, finding a gelato stand.
That's what we did.
Yeah,
every night.
I definitely remember that. The biggest disappointment, though, and I had an expectation. I knew it wasn't going to be the same as far as pizza. I knew that we as Americans,
yeah, the pizza was way different.
It was totally different.
Yeah,
it was just a piece of bread and tomato paste.
Yeah,
for the most part.
Pretty much. You're right.
I've been to other parts of Europe and had better pizza.
Yeah,
but I think people who go to Rome should know that the pizza you're looking for in your head, it exists. It's just not in Rome.
Yeah.
You would have to probably go to Tuscany, go to Florence, somewhere else, maybe northern Italy. If you have this idea of, a big plate of spaghetti and meatballs.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's not going to happen.
You might as well stay here in Atlanta and go to Maggiano's.
Yeah.
What about food-wise? The place we went that was most... We've actually found it kind of just accidentally walking out one night was Vero Alfredo, the guy that created actually the Alfredo dish.
That's dope.
So I was like, this must be kind of, everybody's at like outrageous. So we go in there and this guy had pictures for like every U.S. president from like Kennedy on up to like Bush Senior. And then like the Rat Pack, all these people in there, all on this huge wall, just like kind of like a wall of fame. So, and then you order the actual Alfredo, and I'm thinking like, here we get with shrimp and all this stuff. Nah, that's just noodles and sauce. Like that's it. But they make everything right there. They toss it right there in front of you, man. It was that was probably one of the best. It was something simple, but it was real deal Alfredo, a real deal Italian dish.
I would say this, my experience, and I probably I've been corrupted by American food.
Yes.
So I probably corrupted to the point where when I actually taste real stuff, that it doesn't taste good to me. So gelato, hey, on point.
Gelato was great.
Going into it, as far as food, there were certain places I saw like on the Food Network.
Yeah.
There were certain restaurants that were quote unquote real famous, and I was like, I would put them on Google Maps, star them, so then when I got there, I could just on my phone just kind of map it out. Riscoli was one off the top. I remember it was this big deal. Like you couldn't. They had 2 locations right around the corner from each other, and you could not get a seat in either one. And it's really a narrow place, and you get in there, and they just eat cheese. Like it's a place they have a big block of cheese.
They just cut off of it.
And it's supposed to be this prestigious cheese that they keep in the back room, and it ages. And then when people go in there eat it, they're just like, "Oh my God, this is the best cheese ever." But I didn't feel that.
Yeah.
One, because I couldn't get into that location.
Yeah.
But I went around the corner, and then they had like this pizza that this was also featured on the Food Network.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I came over here for this grilled cheese. But
grilled cheese.
Yeah, exactly. But I would say it's dope, I guess, for Instagram posts.
Yeah.
To say I went to something that was featured on Food Network.
I look it's all an experience. Now that's something I never thought about, that starting in restaurants. I'm about to add that to my repertoire for the next trip I go on.
Well, that's gonna be on one of these episodes that I record. Matter of fact, I just recorded my little screenshot explaining that process. When people talk about recommendations and whatnot, and people say, this is where you gotta go when you go to this place. You can't leave Toronto without visiting this restaurant.
Yeah.
I notate it all down, and I'll go on, Google Maps.
Yeah.
Start every single one of these places that people say that you can't live without going, without leaving. And then once I get there and I open my phone, it's already there. So as you're exploring, I'm walking through a neighborhood and I see a star come up and I say, oh, that's the restaurant that so-and-so was telling me about.
Yeah.
It's around the corner. Let's try it.
Yeah.
So that always works for me. As far as the language barrier, were there any issues?
I had a little bit with the owners of the apartment, just because they were like old Italian, so they didn't speak. Their English was good, but they didn't really understand like, my southern accent. So that gave them a little bit of trouble. And I talk kind of fast sometimes, so that gave them a little bit of trouble. But outside of that, I really didn't have a problem. The restaurants we went to, they pretty much spoke enough English to know what we wanted.
And that was one of the reasons why I chose the Best Western.
I was
like,
concerned about that too.
Somebody gonna speak English.
Now, here's one thing. With you being so close to the train, did you encounter any gypsies?
I didn't.
See, I had a friend went and...
How would I know to spot a gypsy?
Well, by the time your stuff gone, you would know. But no, it's normally like a kid, and they're going to pickpocket you. But they'll be on the train and stuff like that. That's why I was asking my buddy. He went, Rob, he went like a couple, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and so the girl was put on his pocket, and he realized, and by the time he like turned around, like she ran up, but she didn't get anything. But that's what they do. They'll be on the train, and they'll dart off and snatch your purse or whatever they can get their hands on, and dart off the train. You're not going to catch them. They're too fast. And this is what they do all the time, so you're never going to catch them. But that was one thing I remember. Oh, watch out, at night. Don't be out at night. Watch out for the gypsies. And I encountered none of that. But
Me neither.
We were in a larger group, so I would think that had something to do with it. But even the times that it was like maybe 3 or 4 of us, or 2 of us, I never really encountered any real issues as far as I didn't feel safe.
I'm literally walking around there all times of the night.
Yeah,
and I had no idea there was gypsies around the corner waiting to rob me. I was just
you see
walking
them
around.
like the big crowded areas where like the train stations, it's a lot of people on those trains and getting, and that where somebody bumps you, you're not really gonna pay it much mind because.
And you know what? I can see that because I don't know if it was the time of year that I went. I went in September, but everything was crowded. Like there was crowds everywhere. The time of year, I don't know if it's just the time of year or that's the way Rome always is, but
I went in May, it was still pretty crowded.
yeah, everything was crowded everywhere I went, and I rode nothing but public transit. What I did was a lot of places that I go, I will get a city pass.
Yeah, I try to do that a lot of places.
And it'll be inclusive of all the museums, tourist attractions, and everything. You just pay one boat fee, and it gave me access to all the trains, subways, and the buses. And I wouldn't recommend the buses because everything feels like cobblestone that they ride on.
Oh, it is. It's rough.
So all you hear, and the windows rattling. I did not mean to give that sound effect. But
you gotta give them
But that was the effect.
Yeah.
So literally the bus ride was terrible.
Oh yeah, I bet.
But it was free.
Oh, I know.
And
you gotta be a savvy traveler sometimes. People ask me, well, how you do all these trips? And that's one thing I said, I always try to travel smart,
Yeah.
If we can get an apartment versus getting, because like the hotel, mind you, was like $250 a night. $250 a night. For 5 or 6 days, you're talking about almost $3,000. I mean, with $2,500 with taxes, you read it probably $3,000 with all the taxes and the what do you call it? I guess it's like a what was that little tax that hit you with? That was like the little tax, not the
You're not talking about the VAT, are you?
No, I forget what we pay like a fee like per day, so much per day per person. We pay like a little like a $10 tax today per person.
For real?
For the apartment we did, we paid like, it's like $10. It wasn't that much. It was like $10 a day.
Gotcha.
Per person.
So
it's like a I guess because we're coming out of the country, some kind of little whatever tax would say they have to pay it to they basically just charge you for it basically.
So here's the thing. Another reason why I picked that Best Western, one, because the hope was there was going to be somebody who speaks English there.
Yeah.
The second thing was I got points. So the thing, when I'm selecting a hotel, one of the things that I look for is I will go through either Southwest or Delta, and they have if you click on their website, they have an option for hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And then in turn for that stay on some of them, they'll give you bonus points. So for example, in return for that Italian, that stay in Rome, I think I got maybe like 10,000 miles in return.
Yeah.
I needed a hotel anyway.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get 10,000 miles in return. I'll take those 10,000 miles. But Airbnb also has a partnership with Delta. So you can get Sky Miles.
And that's what I use my American Express for. I convert my points into Sky Miles a lot of times. So I paid for that trip because I didn't have enough miles to pay for that trip at the time. But I paid for that trip plus everything I did while I was gone. I used on my American Express, so I got all those points back.
Flights. And that's how I double up because I got a Venture card. Now I'll get the miles from my Venture card and the miles for.
So with American Express, I got American Express Gold, so I'll get for flights it's triple points.
Boy, you rich, man.
I don't know about all that, but
bruh.
I don't know about all that.
Hey, for all the young ladies that's gonna watch this, Zane is the man. He's traveling to Europe all the time, and that man balling. Continue, please.
But I get like triple points for like flights and double for hotels, and then everything else like gas. I used for any little thing that I'm gonna pay for with my debit card anyway. I just pay at the end of the month, so I will accumulate a nice amount of points. So I usually get at least one free flight. I don't say free. I'll get one flight that come out of my pocket every year.
That's dope. Because part of this is to let everyone know that there's people who say, I don't have enough money to make this trip possible.
Yeah.
Just in this last 2 minutes, we've discussed ways in which you can get miles and get points towards a free flight.
Or if you really know where you want to go and you got a time frame, what I start doing, if I know I want to go to we're planning a trip to Ibiza next summer. My 4th birthday.
Bro, don't say that because I was out the loop on that one.
Oh no, I haven't done anything with it yet.
Okay,
I haven't done anything with it. It's gonna be whoever wants to come. But
good cover.
I'm gonna I hadn't even got all the details yet. But you got enough time, so it's like I'm gonna start. Hey, if it's say it's $2,000, well, I say, well, I know I have a certain person a portion up front to pay for already, so I'll just have that money aside. Then the rest of the money I'll just put aside every month, small amounts. So I ain't gotta be trying to the last minute, oh man, I come with $1,500. Nah, start saving now for it. Even if I'm not going on a trip, I put up like $75 a pay period. I just put into an account just for travel.
Gotcha.
Every pay period, no matter what.
So, as far as Rome, did you take advantage of the VAT tax?
That's when you buy stuff. That's when is that what that's stuff when you buy like whatever?
So, I would say that when I went to Rome, the biggest thing, and I tell anybody who ever goes to Italy, whenever you go to Europe, most of the countries within the European Union, as Americans, we don't pay taxes. There's a VAT.
Yeah.
So people who want to buy luxury goods and luxury items or anything like that, I tell them, save your money and just buy it when you go to Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's a big deal.
When I went to Italy, we took the train up to Florence, and about 30 minutes outside of Florence, and there's a shuttle that will take you from the train station in the middle of Florence that will take you to that mall. It's a big outlet. And all these name brand things from Gucci to Tom Ford to Moncler, any brand name you could think of.
Out there.
It's out there. It's a big outlet mall. And matter of fact, this watch that I'm wearing, right? It was a $1,000 watch. Paid $500 for it, right? But as Americans, we don't pay taxes, and their taxes included
in that $500.
In that $500. In America, it's retail price plus tax.
Yeah.
There, it's included in the price. So then, as Americans, we don't pay that tax. So not only did I get it cheaper, but they take that tax off the top.
Yeah. Now, I actually didn't do any shopping. I don't know why. We didn't go outside, really outside the city. And the few places we went, like I'm not a Gucci person, so I wasn't gonna spend that kind of money. But my buddy went over there, and it was some kind of Gucci bag he wanted. It first came out, they only had a few, so they didn't have it in the store. So like they literally held him one, and he flew back over just to get the bag.
Dude, my first time, about a couple years ago, when I went to Paris, and they have this Lafayette Galleries mall. It's a big mall, and how we have stores, right? You go into a mall and they have stores. Theirs is separated by like departments. So one floor is women's, all the different stores, but it's all
women's stuff.
Their women's section. So literally, say you're going to a Louis Vuitton store, right? There's a Louis Vuitton store on each level of the mall.
But it's just men's, women's, jewelry, whatever.
Exactly. So every store, right? I got a book bag. That book bag in America. And keep in mind, I don't even wear this book bag because I don't want it. I pay this much for it, but I don't want nothing to happen to it. So I don't
At some point, you're going to have to wear it, but like even if you use it
I'm talking about wear this when I'm traveling somewhere where I know there's. Only time I wear that book bag is when I'm going to Europe. Yeah. Because everybody else got money anyway, and they're not trying to rob me.
Yeah. I wouldn't just have it out. It's anywhere. I mean, because you don't want. It's a nice piece, and like if you actually bought that same bag here, it probably cost you $2,000.
Yeah, and stupid thing is it just sits in my office. I don't use it. Like, so if I had to do it over again, it's cool to have one, but I don't use it. Like, I would just go get me a regular Walmart book bag. But it was just cool the fact that I could get it for such a cheaper price than if I were here in America. So part of the lure was the lure to take advantage of the VAT was pretty much the catalyst for me getting it,
I mean, in hindsight, I kind of wish I would have did some shopping, but I was there for the experience. I didn't really care about the shopping at that point in time.
Bruh, I think that's the opportunity. If I want to get impressive gifts, not even just like high-end stuff, but bruh, whenever I get it like that, I'm going to Europe.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and I'm just going to schedule my shopping around that vacation.
You like some of those small stores. They had like I got a leather wallet. I missed it. I didn't use it yet. But I bought it was like it was great quality leather. I bought it for like $30. It was a nice wallet. I still got it.
And that was one of the things I remember. One of my coworkers, when I letting her know she travels so much, and then when I was telling her I was going, she was like, leather.
Oh yeah,
leather. And she was saying, get something made of leather. She said she had heels, she had jackets, she had all this stuff, and she had it shipped back when she went to Rome.
Yeah, I've heard people doing that too. I mean, I had a friend ship me back like 2 cases of wine,
bro,
from Rome. I was like, what is this? Well, you just we had, so I had to use somebody. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. And I got I got an import tax bill. Came in the mail. I was like, yeah, I'm not paying that. I never paid it. I just left it alone.
Oh, okay. When they come knocking on, but you can afford it.
I mean, but
You're
they
Zane.
actually never even sent anything back after that. Just sent it one time.
Yeah, I think I've never gotten anything back. Most of the time, I just know whatever. So whenever I purchase something, whatever the little VAT thing is, there's a little form or whatever, and you get a receipt. And most times you drop it off in the airport on the way out.
Yeah.
Then you're solid. And
How long did they refund you on the spot when you have that stuff?
They give you the option. So when I was at the outlet in Italy, they had a VAT office right there on the campus with all the malls. So I can literally walk in before I head back, hand them my, receipts, and she cashed me out right there on the spot in American dollars. When I was in Paris, I used my Venture card, and within maybe a week or two, I just saw the credit come on my card.
Automatically credit it?
Yeah, just automatically just start crediting my account just for the price difference. So would you recommend going back?
Yeah. I want to go back because I want to explore more of the city that I didn't get to the first time. Usually I try to do more, but I said we were there for a wedding, so I had limited time. But the time I had, I went. Like I did the Colosseum, the Pantheon, Spanish Steps, the Vatican.
Did you go to Trevi Fountain?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
Did you throw anything in the fountain?
I threw some coins in there.
Okay. What was your wish?
I can't tell you when it'll come true. I can't tell you when it'll come true. But no, I like the history stuff. I want to go back, and I do want to actually catch a train and catch some other places up and down. Like the I'm gonna go down to the coast. Do like Naples, Sicily.
So, yeah, it's so much to explore in Italy in general.
Yeah, it is.
I want to go to Venice before it gets flooded out because it keeps rising and everything.
Yeah.
And then you got Milan.
Yeah.
Florence. Like you got the whole coastline too.
What's that? Was it Amalfi Coast, whatever it is?
Yeah.
I wanted that. That's where I was originally planning on going, but we changed our mind the last minute and didn't go.
Thank you for your time, man. You want to go ahead and give your socials or anything you want the people for this young, rich Zane?
Hey, you can follow me on Instagram at Zane, ZHANE.I.am.
Anything else you want to plug?
Nah, you want to buy a house? Holler at me too. You can hit me up on that same on that same label on that same account, and I can we can work that out too. If you need
Bro,
to.
that was the most important plug.
Hey,
so you rather have the followers than the business?
Well, no, I mean, I take all the above. Now, I mean, but I like to share my travel experiences, but I do like to make some money and sell some houses. So
Thank you so much, and this concludes this episode.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Don't forget to tell a friend. See y'all later.